Halfway between Riften and Windhelm, near the Eldergleam Sanctuary, you find the mining camp Darkwater Crossing. This is the same location of Annika Cragjumper, which I already did a guide on. So if you've followed that guide already, you know exactly where I'm talking about. Speaking with the residents of the mining camp, you will find that there's an Argonian resident named Derkeethus that has gone missing. There is supposedly a task here, but after speaking with all of the residents, I was only able to find a hint about his location, the pools, from Sandus. Derkeethus is being held captive in Darkwater Passage. This is right next to the waterfall outside of Darkwater Crossing. If you're traveling alone, you can just quickly jump off of the bridge and swim over there, head towards the waterfall, and you'll see Darkwater Passage on your right. If you have another follower, or especially if you're bringing dead thralls, you're going to need to take this path through the mountains, as they will not cross the water and you can lose your thralls. Derkeethus was the most requested follower in the comments of my previous guides, so I'm covering him at the request of my viewers. He is the only Argonian follower available in Skyrim, so I'm guessing a lot of you guys must be lizard lovers. Enter Darkwater Passage and work your way through a series of cave tunnels filled with Falmer. These will not be easy at lower levels, but I also want to mention, if you play on the console, you should not do this until you're at least level 30. Now you're going to come to a room with a grate on the floor. You'll be able to see Derkeethus walking around down below you. To the left is an enchanting table, and to the right you're going to find a lever on the wall to pull. This opens up a hidden passageway with steps that lead down to him.
It's wearing a dangerous spell. It's wearing a dangerous spell. It's wearing a dangerous spell. It's wearing a dangerous spell.
Speak with him, and he will ask you to lead him out of Darkwater Passage. Common sense would tell you to head back out the front through the way you came. However, there are several glitches that can happen if you try and do this. The end result of most of the problems is that Derkeethus will stand inside the cave, refusing to leave. If you do manage to force him out the door using Fus Ro Dah or something else like that, a lot of the times you will still be unable to get the quest completed, and you cannot have him as a follower. PC players, you can adjust the quest stages with console commands. My advice, though, is just to continue clearing forward through the remaining Falmer. The pathing in here is terrible. Be prepared to have Derkeethus and any followers or thralls get stuck. They're going to get stuck on traps, they're going to get stuck on rocks, they're going to struggle to navigate through the water. You're going to find this whole ordeal an exercise in frustration. When you finally manage to get them all to the back, exit Darkwater Passage through the back door. Derkeethus will exit here without any issue. Speak to him to complete his small quest. He's now willing to marry you and also join you as a follower.
It's wearing a dangerous spell. Is that Lady Mara's amulet? I'm shocked a fine person like you isn't married already. You have a kind heart. I'd be honored to walk by your side until the trees themselves fade away, if you would have me. Very well. I am poor for it.
Once you have Derkeethus as a follower, the first thing you're going to notice is that he's essential. This is great because it means he cannot die, and keeping him alive takes a lot of effort. However, this also means you cannot wabbajack him in order to fix his level. This is why I mentioned that you should wait until level 30 before entering Darkwater Passage. If you go in at any earlier level, his stats are going to be permanently level locked to whatever level you were at the time that you found him. Now, if you're on the PC, you can fix him by reaching level 30, then dismiss him and use the disable and enable commands. On the console, unfortunately, once you've done this, it's too late. At his max level of 30, he has only 340 health, which is about half that of comparable followers. Being an archer class, his strongest offensive skill is archery at 78. He also has 57 skill in block and in one-handed. Now, essential NPCs cannot be pickpocketed, but you'll notice he's wearing miner clothes. He's basically a watered-down version of Annika, wearing the same gear, but with a lower level cap and lower skill levels. Miner's clothes means he will wear any gear that you want to give him, heavy or light. However, he has no skill in heavy armor and will prefer light over everything else you give him. So stick with light in order to get the largest benefit. Derkeethus will also join the Blades, but he has an issue where he refuses to stay at Skyhaven Temple and will run home anytime you leave the temple. I have not been able to confirm if he gets a skill boost to heavy armor after joining the Blades. Since all the Blades armor is heavy, it looks like he would make a poor choice if he doesn't get an upgrade. Now, as an archer, Derkeethus prefers to use his bow over everything else. He will use an upgraded bow sometimes, but often switches back to his default bow. You can see here after he stands up from being injured, he has an invisible bow, which I believe is his default hunting bow that he's trying to use. Upgraded arrows are always used, so it is in your best interest to give him Daedric or whatever your best arrow is. He will also use one-handed and shield when in range, but his low skill makes this not very effective. In a full set of enchanted light armor, his 340 health was no match for this ancient dragon. I found it extremely difficult to keep him alive whenever he was being attacked. It's great that he's essential, because if he wasn't, he'd be dead before you ever got the chance to use him. Derkeethus is a miner just like Annika, which means he will dual wield, but only if the second weapon is a pickaxe. His low one-hand skill does not lead to impressive results, and you're likely better off using him as an archer rather than trying to get him to go into melee range. Archer classes prefer to keep their distance until the enemy comes to them. With followers like Janasa, you can overcome that by pulling the enemies to them. With Derkeethus, I would advise you let him keep his distance because he definitely struggles to tank anything effectively. He will use a summon staff, but only when in melee range. While firing his arrows, he ignores the stabs in his inventory, so you cannot rely on him in order to keep an additional pet around. I got tired of healing him, so I decided to give him Restoration Glitched Health to see if he fared any better. He still kept his distance, and whenever he got in range, he barely made a dent in the dragon's health. Derkeethus as a follower left me pretty disappointed. The only benefits I could find with him were his dialogue. He will hiss at enemies. He's somewhat talkative while exploring. However, most of his conversation is very generic. If you're looking for a follower with unique dialogue, you're better off going with someone like Cicero or the Lioness, not Derkeethus. Now, as an archer, you'd want to get him the Dwarven Arrow upgrade. Mine are not respawning anymore, so I think there may be a limit to the number of times that you can take this item. Adding insult to injury, Derkeethus is unwilling to steal anything, so the arrow upgrade is not an option. He also has no two-handed skill, so getting him the giant club is also a waste of your time.
You dare strut around here, wearing that filthy Stormcloak hide?
Overall, I'm not impressed with Derkeethus. His low level cap, weak skills, and archer/miner AI do not offer you very much assistance in a fight. If you want a lizard in your life, you're better off marrying this one rather than have him accompany you as a follower. Now, there have been many more requests for followers. The next one who had the most votes was Cicero, so look for him soon. Also, I know a few of you have asked for other ones, and I do intend to get to them. I'm going based on the popular vote rather than personal preference. Keep letting me know what you'd like to see. Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Is that Lady Mara's amulet? I'm shocked a fine person like you isn't married already. You have a kind heart. I'd be honored to walk by your side until the trees themselves fade away, if you would have me. Very well. I am poor for it. Mind the way.